with authority. Aloha!
Welcome to the most muscles in podcast in Bay Area sports. Welcome to ABC7 Sports
with authority.
You are inside the ABC7 Sports Department. I'm Casey Pratt. That's Larry Beal. We have a ton of great stuff coming up for you.
Yes, we do. It's 2015 all over again.
Is it?
Doesn't it feel like that? It feels like that to me. What does that mean for Kevin Durant as he observes from afar? Should I stay or should I go? I did a fair amount of research on the one-on-one matchups you would love to see. And actually, the NBA did this before Casey was born.
Yay.
We only have one more week to talk about Game of Thrones theories. So, among other things, we're going to dive into proper use of a dragon, which we finally got last week. I'm begging for this. I have not been begging for the return of Meatball Paul. Meatball Paul is, if you're watching on the YouTube, is ever present in our office, and he is the centerpiece of our A's-Giants bet, which is fairly dreadful, actually. And what you will name your next child. I have the names. You didn't even know you were having another child.
There's a long list of children names coming from Westeros.
Yes.
And let's just say some people may have immediate regrets after the last episode.
If it's a girl and you went Khaleesi, you might want to scratch that out.
Yeah, not good.
Well, after the last episode. All right, let's get into it, all right? Because when we taped our last podcast, I think we were both very nervous. The Dubs Dynasty Doomsday Clock, I had it pretty much set to 11:59.
No. You had it at Doomsday.
Well, no, I did. That's
I
true.
had it a minute behind Doomsday.
Yeah. But now
you were there.
You know what? Now I'm resetting it.
Again.
I'm resetting it to like 9 a.m.
Whoa!
I'm going away.
It's off.
I'm going way back.
It's falling
because
off the wall.
Think about what's happened. Okay, when we were watching a week ago, Kevin Durant had limped off in Game 5 against the Rockets. They survived that game. I thought, oh man, they're probably going to lose the series. You correctly predicted that they would get it all together and flash back to 2015.
I'm an optimist. What can I say?
Yes. So they dispatch the Houston Rockets, okay, and then almost a letdown against the Blazers coming in because we had the big build-up, and it was the grudge match with the Rockets, and I'm sure they're working on their latest officiating review that they're going to publish at some point. But it just doesn't have the intensity in the next. I think this will be a closer series than Game 1 would lead us to believe for a variety of reasons, because the Blazers came in tired off a 7-game series, and the Warriors kind of have this thing rolling now. But what I want to ask you is, if you're Kevin Durant, and we saw the shot of him in his theater room or living room or whatever that is.
Theater room.
Yeah, it would be nice to have that. Triumphant as he watched the Warriors from afar as they did the job in Houston. Is he thinking, man, I can't wait to get back to my squad and get this calf healthy and be ready to go. And we're never going to lose if I stick with this bunch. Or is he on the couch going, they don't need me. They don't need me at all. What am I doing here? Like I'm like the hood ornament on a Bentley. I'm there, but do they really? You really need that? I don't need to be. I could be. It's time for me to go to the Knicks. Maybe it's time.
Yeah. So what does that do to your psyche watching that game? Is the question. And I've heard a lot of ridiculous takes, and a lot of them properly were dispatched with authority, as you might say, but the Warriors are not better without Kevin Durant.
No, I think
no one thinks that. And if you do, you're not smart.
Yeah,
let's just get that out of the way.
I think there's some people that are looking to try to get the hot take of the day
and failed.
Throw that out there. But they do play differently without Durant because they share the ball more, and the beneficiary most obviously is Klay Thompson, who gets more looks. And they've unleashed Steph a little bit. I think he gets more offensive-minded when he knows Durant is not. I think their level of mental focus goes up dramatically.
Yeah, they can't rest.
Yeah, because they
have to
focus.
Be perfect. If they're not perfect, KD isn't coming to bail them out like he always does. So they need to play with the utmost intensity and defensive efforts and the appropriate fear, as we like to say. So I think that if you're Kevin Durant and you're watching that, I think you want to stay. I don't think you see that and go, these guys don't need me. I'm just going to go somewhere else. Because what he has right now is rarefied air. They are looking at a unprecedented-ish NBA title run that is putting him in a category of players that is very minute. Not Meatball.
Not Meatball.
Yeah.
You knew I was going to go there. Well, but the question is, I mean, does that inspire you to want to re-up maybe for one more year, going to the Chase Center?
I just don't want to keep playing this one more year game, though.
Oh, I'm not saying I would want to, but the Warriors might take that and
they take it.
Kick off the Chase Center debut with KD, and then because whether it's the Knicks, I don't know that there's a lot of other attractive places to go necessarily. I mean, do you want to join Dallas?
No.
I mean, he's already said he didn't find the atmosphere with LeBron. Now, Clippers could be a different story, but you don't know how that's going to play out. I mean, the Clippers may be one or two players away. Everybody thinks Kawhi Leonard is going to join the Clippers. Would you want to go join up with Kawhi and that bunch?
Maybe. They battled without those guys. I'd hate to see what they look like with them, the Clippers.
I know. I think he sold his Malibu mansion, or he put it on.
Yeah,
for sale.
So we mentioned the hot takes off the top, the bad ones, the ones saying that also maybe Kevin Durant won't come back to protect his ankle and protect his free agency, which is even more ridiculous.
That's just dumb.
My hot take is this, and I haven't changed my opinion on this at all.
Okay.
I think Kevin Durant is coming back next year. I've said it all along. I think Kevin Durant wants to open the Chase Center. He's talked about statues outside the Chase Center. I think that he knows that he's got something incredibly rare here with the Warriors. He's got an amazing team, amazing ownership, amazing coaches, a whole bunch of humble stars all around him. This is impossible to duplicate. You can want to go somewhere else and start your own thing, but it's going to be tough slogging for him. And I don't think you're going to want to go join a team like the Knicks, who just can't seem to get it together and figure it out. And now, by the way, they're not getting Zion.
I was going to say, but he would go, look, it'll be me, Kyrie, and Zion. Oh, Zion.
And even stop at Kyrie. KD and Kyrie sounds good in theory, but give them a few months together, and I don't think that's a great mix.
You're talking about two moody guys who
exactly.
like to have the ball all the time?
Two moody guys.
Two unpredictable
Kyrie bailed on LeBron. He wanted his own thing. He went to the Celtics. He was never happy there. I just don't see that being a great mixture, and I don't think the Knicks really have an organization of the quality the Warriors have that he's got it made right now. This is like talking about if you were like a really good engineer, like top-notch engineer at a startup, and Apple goes, hey, we want you. Are you going to go, nah, I'd rather work at this crummy startup that we're still figuring things out and we're not making all the money and we're not exactly the elite of the elite? Or would you go to the best company in the world and stay there? Why would you leave that?
Well, I mean,
he's there.
If we're talking about, let's say, Apple or a startup, you're in control of your own destiny more in a smaller shop as a part of being a little piece in this gigantic machine. I was going to throw it back to you, let's say, because you're having a great run here. But what if inside the NBA came calling and said, look, you've done all you can with Larry Beal, except a podcast, and now we're even doing that. So what? I mean, you can't prop this dude up any more than you already have all these years.
That might be the other way around too.
But if you could go work, you could go produce with Charles Barkley and with Shaq and Ernie Johnson, who's like the nicest man in the world. Wouldn't that be appealing to you? From like, you've done all you could do at ABC 7, so I'm going to go to a bigger market, a national situation where the whole universe can see my work on a nightly basis. I could make that case for Casey Pratt right here.
Yeah, but that is essentially what Kevin Durant did in leaving the Thunder and going to the Warriors. He is at the best place with the best people, doing the best things on the biggest and brightest stage that his line of work offers. And for him to be at that level, it would be the opposite. It would be like him leaving Shaq and Ernie and Charles.
You mean you
and
leaving
coming
Shaq and coming to work with me?
You.
Yeah, that would
and
be
starting
really
everything
stupid.
over
that
again.
That would be really stupid.
That'd be horrible. Who would do that?
Nobody would do that.
Nobody would do that.
And imagine if you had to buy into the Bay Area housing market, years
again,
later.
Yeah, so it's a backwards analogy. And if I was inside the NBA, I don't think I'd want to leave that.
Okay. All
Why
right.
would KD want to leave the Warriors? Why would you want to leave a place where you're almost guaranteed a trip to the NBA Finals every year, a chance to show what you can do on the biggest stage on the planet?
But when you look at the way Steph and Clay and Draymond play when KD is not on the court, it is a flashback to 2015. It's the beautiful basketball that Steve Kerr talked about in the 300 passes a game and the cutting and screening and getting Steph loose, and that meshing that with the way KD plays and their mindset of, we're in trouble. Go do your thing, Slim Reaper, right there. Let's just bail us out, save us again. So it's hard to combine. It seems to be we're in year 3 of this, and I don't know. I still don't think they have it figured out. It's either one or the other.
Yeah.
And then think about in a possible finals series with maybe DeMarcus coming back. And then there's this dude on the low post who wants the ball, even though they use him out at the three-point line as well. Then that's a third offense that they have to run or have run this season. So if you're Durant, are you like, they're fine without me. I'm messing their stuff up. I mean, I can see it now. I'm sitting there watching on TV in my theater room or whatever, with my hands raised. They don't really need me. And I actually, watching this, I'm more comfortable thinking about 2020 and whether he's there or not, because you can't replace the money that he's making. I think it's 30, 35 million, whatever. You can't just bring in another guy at that price because of the salary cap restrictions. But you might be able to, if he's willing to do it, bring DeMarcus back, because with the quad, and we don't know what the bidding is going to be like for him in the offseason. Maybe you pick up, you're going to need another guy in the backcourt because Sean Livingston, he's going to retire. His knee is swelling up, health issues. He's had a long run. You don't know what if KD leaves, Quinn Cook might go with him because he's a free agent. You need another guard, but you also need a small forward, so like a Rudy Gay, and it looked like Austin Rivers was almost openly campaigning during the Rockets series, like, I love the way they play. And actually, that's an All in the Family thing, because the Rivers family and the Curry family, they're intertwined because Seth is going to marry Callie Rivers, and you got that. And you got Damian Lee also on the Warriors, who's with Seidel. I mean, the family connections are all over the place.
There's more bloodlines going around here than in Game of Thrones.
Than the
right
Targaryens.
You got to keep track of all
the
this.
Starks. So I don't know. I could just see him watching this and going, while you're so anxious to get back on the court, also thinking, maybe it's time. Maybe I've done all I can do here. Let's win one more ring. I'll get another Finals MVP, and then just take a look at the landscape and see. I would agree with you. Going to New York, I think he'll be miserable no matter what they pay him, no matter what. Clippers would be intriguing, and then think about what the matchups would be with Durant coming back twice a year. They play the Clippers 4 times. Into the Chase Center?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think Joe Lacob is going to do everything in his power to make sure KD comes back. I think that he wants to be back. I think that he was the first guy to break ground at the Chase Center. He was the first guy to come check out the Chase Center, hard hat and boots and everything, and talk about where his locker's going to be and his parking spot and look at everything. He seemed to have taken an interest in the entire building process of this arena.
Maybe he just likes construction.
Maybe he just loves hard hats and boots. Who doesn't, right?
YMCA.
I mean, we've donned those hard hats and boots ourselves.
We have, actually.
Very masculine.
During the tour, I want to make sure people know that was during the tour.
Yeah, during the tour.
Not in our personal lives.
But I think that there's too much there for him to stay. And I think that leaving...
To stay or to leave?
To stay. And I think what your point is great, in that he may look at it and go, hey, these guys don't need me. He may look at it and remember when he left the Thunder and was like the most hated man on the planet for many months. I mean, people still hate on him for it. I think he looks at that and goes, maybe I do have an exit plan for the Warriors that doesn't make me the biggest villain in the sport.
But I don't think
it's a redemption
arc. I would think if he left, the whole NBA would cheer.
Yeah, they'd be happy.
Oh, yeah, so he would be.
So that's what I'm saying.
He would be regaled as.
He wouldn't ruin the Warriors per se.
No, he would.
He'd be regaled for leaving the Warriors
yeah.
and taking away the super team, even though they're still a great team without him. So I think he's got a softer landing than when he left the Thunder. So I see that point.
But you're arguing against your point now.
No, I'm just saying I see the other side of the equation, but I'm not changing my mind.
Okay.
I think he's 100% staying. And all this rumors and chatter, a lot of that's because he signed a one-year deal and people are going to talk and he's going to have floaters out there.
But he's done
nothing.
He's
going to weigh every option.
He's done nothing to quiet down all the chatter, which would have been easy to do, as Klay Thompson has done and said repeatedly, I want to be here. Now, his people have been floating. Klay needs to get a max deal, otherwise Lakers, Clippers, looking good. So,
but that's people. That's not him.
No, but
that's,
his agent, whatever.
He's just making sure he gets his.
Right, and they're going to pay Klay.
You got to understand that.
But I just... the flip side, now that you mention, I hadn't really thought about it. The whole NBA would change from KD the villain because he made the Warriors invincible. They were great, and with him, they're basically invincible for the entire league. Barring injury, there's no way you stop them. To everybody has a chance. Suddenly, everybody would have a chance. Think of the invigorated team. Think of Daryl Morey. He would get rid of his officiating. We have a chance. Finally, the Rockets have a chance.
But you know what? The Rockets still wouldn't have a chance.
I think they would have a chance. Especially
if KD went to another Western Conference team and loaded up with other players.
Well,
I think he just doesn't want to shut the door. He wants to leave the options open because if he does shut the door, then all the background politicking doesn't happen, and he can't see who he could possibly get to what team with him to build whatever dynasty he may want to build. But let's be honest, it's a lot easier just to stay in a place where you're already the best in the world, and there's no reason to mess with that, maybe until they lose a championship. I'd say keep on going with this run. Open up the Chase Center, and then if you lose in the finals or get bumped early, that's when you leave.
You know what I would love to see? I would love to see Kyrie go to the Lakers with LeBron and try to run it.
That'd be ridiculous.
I would love to. Wouldn't you? I mean, think about it. Then they could try to recreate the Cavs who beat the Warriors, and I know 2016 and Draymond and all that.
Curry's knee was hurt. Draymond was suspended.
But think about how much fun it would be, if they try to do Cavs, the West Coast version of the Cavs again, and see if they could give the Warriors a run.
Yeah.
And they're still trying to get Anthony Davis. They still might try to get AD.
It's a train wreck, though.
I know the organization is a
complete and utter train wreck. And you look at the Knicks tend to be a train wreck. The Lakers are a train wreck. The Warriors are where they are. Obviously, the players are great, and they drafted Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green and signed KD, signed Iguodala. But the Warriors are great because a new ownership group came in, changed the entire culture from the top down. I mean, Joe Lacob and Goober, amazing.
No question.
Welts, absolutely amazing. Bob Myers, one of the most genuine, unbelievable human beings on the planet. Humble guy. Steve Kerr, unreal. You have these guys in this culture they've created there, a team full of humble superstars, and that's not something you can just duplicate by putting a different piece on a different roster. And that's what goes unseen in this. You're not going to get the culture you have at Golden State anywhere else, especially not the Lakers or Knicks.
I agree with that. I just wonder what goes through his mind when he watches them do so well without him. And is it, I can't wait to do this is an amazing brand of basketball that I can't wait to rejoin, or they'll be fine without me.
You know what went through his mind?
Great.
We saw the picture of it. Yippee!
Yeah,
Yippee!
No, well, we
win.
He's pulling for his team right now. I hope you're right.
Yeah.
I hope you're right.
It's a big yippee. You know who's got a lot on their mind these days?
Meatball Paul?
Well, me.
Oh.
Because I made a bet with you that the A's would win 15 more games than the Giants.
Right. How's that going, by the way? How's that going?
And so as I hold Meatball Paul here in my hand, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see him in all of his splendor. He's a little stuffed meatball. We introduced him in episode 5 if you want to go back and see his introduction.
He's a cute little guy.
He's cute. He smells like actual meatballs.
This would be smell-o-vision.
It's heinous. Frankly, it
smells like a meatball. kid's toy that smells like a meatball.
He's the mascot of our department because last year we made a bet and the loser had to eat meatball subs, and it was about if the A's would win more games than the Giants. The A's obviously did win more games than the Giants. I got really confident, gave Larry a 15-win buffer, and the A's are terrible. Terrible.
Yeah.
Their bullpen's garbage.
Are you going to fake an injury?
At least they're not faking injuries like the Giants are. So
what? Derek
this is
Collins?
bad. This is really bad.
You did some research?
Right now, the Giants have 18 wins and the A's have 19 wins.
It's neck and neck.
And I need 14 more somewhere.
Oh, you got 2/3 of the season
I
left,
got time, though. So now this is where I get a little bit more confident, despite the rage I just feigned there. On this day in 2018, 1 year ago, the Giants had 21 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Want to guess how many the A's had?
20.
Nailed it.
Really?
On the
Is
nose.
that correct?
20 wins.
I did not cheat off your paper.
The A's finished with 97 wins, and the Giants finished with 73. So the A's are known to finish strong.
So all you need is 77 more wins to get to last year's total.
The A's finished with a 24-point margin of victory last year in our bet, and I am feeling okay about it because the A's are traditionally a second-half team, and I think the Giants are really not going to get it together this year. I think that's pretty obvious. So while both teams are terrible right now, I could see the A's turning it around. They got off to a horrible start last year too, then they put it all together, and they were great. Went on a run to the wild card game in the playoffs, and my thinking is the A's can do it again. They have all the pieces. They just got Matt Olson back, Gold Glover, great hitter. Chris Davis has been banged up, so that slowed them down a bit. The bullpen's been awful, but they have quality arms. They'll turn that around. And then you're going to have healthy guys coming back like Jarrell Cotton, A.J. Puck, Sean Manaea, Jesus Luzardo. So I like my chances still. It's not over yet, Meatball Paul.
Your second half pitching staff will be so much better than your first half pitching staff. It'll almost be like a different team.
Yeah.
If only the Giants could find a different team.
They're trying,
That's
though.
what Farhad Zaidi's doing every day.
Though.
Oh, wait a second.
And that's what we see.
Let's try this guy. No, he didn't work. No, that guy didn't work.
So let's talk about some of the frustrations of the Giants. We had a whole fake injury thing happen. Derek Holland made some questionable comments. That's not a really good sign.
Real
you don't want that.
doctor looked at him. Come on,
you don't want that
Casey.
coming up with the team. So, I mean, the Giants clearly frustrated.
I'm actually surprised that Derek Holland is still wearing a Giants uniform because typically when you and for people who aren't familiar with the story, he was frustrated with a performance in a game, and then he was interviewed post game.
He was sent to the bullpen too.
Right.
And he wants to start.
And then he said, I don't know what's going on here. Nobody knows what's going on here. And I mean, they had me faking an injury last week, and
then the red flags, alarm bells. Oh my! Wait, whoa! I mean, look, we know this happens. We don't talk about it.
It goes on all the time, and nobody really cares. Pretty much in Major League Baseball, it basically coincides with some roster move that you want to make. But typically, when you call out your general manager, and he was careful to say, I'm fine with Bruce Bochy. I like the way he runs it, but he did not know. It was his opinion that the players were unaware of the grander scheme that the Giants organization has in mind because they keep shipping guys in and shipping guys out, and it's just a revolving door of, hey, let's give this guy a chance. Hey, nobody's hitting. Let's call up Mac Williamson again because he was doing
give
great.
Give him one last shot.
Yeah. So, and I don't have a problem with Farhan doing it. I just think it's fun. It reminded me of Josh Donaldson. Hey, Billy boy.
Yeah, and bye-bye.
Yeah, and so he was gone for the next. So I'm surprised that Holland is still wearing a Giants uni. But
here's what Farhan said about it. He had a finger issue that he had back in spring training. This is via the Chronicle. Mm-hmm. It flared up. We got an MRI. He felt he could continue pitching. We felt it would be prudent to give him the time off. The decision was collaboratively made. We have extensive medical records to prove he had a finger injury. So that's a frustrated Holland. But it seems like they kind of have their bases covered. And I'm going to come to the defense of Farhan and the Giants, which I don't do often.
Yeah.
But you look at the way the A's operated back in the day when Farhan was there, and they're constantly looking for the diamond in the rough. They're constantly turning
Sure.
over the roster, waiting to see what sticks. I remember being in a press box in Houston when the A's acquired some guy named Stephen Vogt I'd never heard of. And I was like, who's this guy? Throwaway trade, whatever, move. Dude's an all-star on the Giants now. But this is how they operate. This is how they build their team. I remember one day I saw that the A's had acquired Marco Scutaro. It's like, what? Who's this guy?
He was
Funny
great.
name. Fantastic player. Also a guy that played for both the A's and Giants. These are just some little examples of how these tiny under-the-radar roster moves end up being something. You look at the Giants with Kevin Pillar. Random moves, but
right.
the guy
Well, they
stick.
made like 6 moves to acquire him, and so it's this little tinkering that's going on because, well, I don't want to go back to your Bryce Harper rant because they didn't get
I'd
the
love
big
to get
ticket.
back to that.
They did not get the big ticket item, and they're going to be sellers at the deadline, not buyers, and that would lead us into a Madison Bumgarner conversation about, because he just listed a bunch of teams that he would not want to be traded to, which would give him leverage.
Yeah,
and they're all contenders. So if you put them on your no trade list, and then somebody really wants you badly, then it's okay. Well, what kind of a deal can we work out? What's in Madison's best interest? But I think the unfortunate thing that it's too early to talk about, but will become a conversation point as we get farther into this season, is that Bruce Bochy came into 2019 needing 74 wins to reach 2,000 for his career. When we started our projections before the season, I think the Giants were at 73.5. It was something like that.
And that's how many they won last year, 73.
So it was low 70s, but they're 18 and 24.
Yeah.
This puts them on a trajectory to be mid 60s, if they don't do something dramatic, and most likely they're going to sell guys, not buy guys. Mm-hmm. So at that point, I mean, imagine coming up at 1993 in terms of total wins for Boch. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame manager either way. It's just a nice number to be able to hit when you put on the whole resume, that the whole board of all your career accomplishments. And he was a player before and a great manager in the 3 World Series with the Giants. It's just you just get to 74, and I just don't see it happening, barring something dramatic out of the blue that I don't know what they could do.
So before we move on, I'll close on this. Let's just hope that the Giants become the bleeping Giants, as Steve Kerr would call them.
Nice.
And they get to 74 wins, and the A's finish with 89, 90.
Oh, so you're clearing.
I'm rooting for the Giants to get Bochy the wins.
So you want 74 and you want the 15-win margin. So
I
have to eat.
I want you to eat the meatballs.
Meatball sandwich.
Meatball Paul is all yours.
I think it's an interesting bet that's going to go on all summer long. Do you want to talk Thrones? We got to talk Thrones.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know we're going to talk
not to talk Thrones.
names of Thrones, but heading into the final episode, because we've been talking about who we think is going to be on the Iron Throne when all is said and done, and we'll get to that. But finally, in this last episode, I have been very upset about the improper use of a dragon for I don't know how many episodes, and finally we saw what a dragon can do when the Queen of Dragons gets irritated. And,
complete and utter domination.
Yeah, just...
And then went a little too far.
You think?
Just a little.
I wonder, I mean, you know how a propane tank works. Is there ever a point where the dragon runs out of fire to breathe on a city? Like does he get tired? I mean, how does he get tired? I mean, basically, if you don't watch the show, he torched an entire city. Innocent people, too, which was unfortunate. Mm-hmm. But that's what happens when the Queen of Dragon, when a Targaryen is born, like you flip a coin, it's 50-50. You're going to be crazy, you're going to be normal. You don't know. But so that takes us into the final episode where Dany is kind of flipped out. And so who do you have on the throne to finish this thing off?
I'm going to read the Vegas odds.
Yeah.
We have them right here because there are odds. And I have to think that they know something we don't, because they have Bran Stark at -500, which means he's an overwhelming favorite to sit on the Iron Throne, and I don't think that makes any sense. Obviously, he's going to be the Lord of Winterfell, but Sansa Stark is +400, Tyrion's +750, Jon Snow Aegon Targaryen, is plus 800. Dany's plus 1,500. So her odds get long. Gendry plus 3,000. Arya plus 3,000. And I don't really need to read the rest of these names. Now, if I was a betting man, I'm putting all my money on Gendry Baratheon.
But
it's way out of left field.
He is not even a primary character in the show.
On this list, he's one of the only people that has a legitimate claim to the throne. And it's plus 3,000. So if I put 100 down, I win 3,000.
Well, I like the numbers on that.
It's a savvy play.
No, it is. It is. But I just don't see how you would take a guy who's not been a dominant figure in the series and elevate him into that status, and whether he has a claim, a birthright claim to it. I mean, think of all the people that have had legitimate claims who've been killed in the past 8 years of this thing. So I don't know that that's going to carry the day.
So yeah, I would bet on Gendry. I think my honest to goodness pick about who is going to end the show on the Iron Throne, it's got to be Aegon Targaryen. And I think it's predictable, but I think what will be unpredictable is that Daenerys is a goner. She go down.
I think we're in agreement on
Arya's
how this
taking her
happens.
out.
With you finally using a fake
She's
face.
going to kill Drogon and wear Drogon's face.
No,
that's
Drogon is a dragon.
Imagine the visual,
Ridiculous.
though. That'd be great.
Well, they could do anything with CGI. But I've been going back and forth. I originally thought it was going to be Jon and Dany's baby.
Yeah, and that's on here. I didn't read it.
Oh, really?
Jon and Dany's baby is plus 3,300, so longer odds than Daenerys Targaryen. So unless she's already pregnant, though,
they're going to have to speed things up
it
dramatically.
doesn't seem like they have that mutual feeling anymore.
Well, because
they've lost that love
destroyed
and feeling.
his whole town?
Yeah.
You think that had something to do with
it? Did.
With a dragon?
So who is your pick if you had to choose right now?
So I can't go with the baby. I'm going to go... I don't know how he's survived this long. I'm going to go Tyrion.
Interesting.
I'm going to go Tyrion just because he should have been killed numerous times already, and he's survived every single time.
But he did betray Daenerys Targaryen one last time by releasing Jaime.
But if Arya takes her out, then
all the good guys can live and rule in a peaceful, proper kingdom. But I still think that would lead to Jon Snow being the king unless he somehow gets taken out early.
He doesn't want it.
He doesn't want it, but it's
like
his
you
birthright.
going inside the NBA. You don't want it.
I don't want it. I don't want to
here.
go to inside the NBA. I want to stay on this podcast forever.
Well, that's possible. That's possible. So we're going to talk about Thrones names in a bit, but it's Tell Me a Story time. And I'm going to take you back. Well, you weren't probably born. I'm sure you weren't born.
I probably read about it in the library.
You read about it on the interwebs?
At the Citadel.
Yeah. So I've been thinking about this because we've had so many Durant conversations, and I don't think there's anybody that disputes much at this point that he's the best player on the planet. Depending on what Kawhi Leonard does at any given moment, LeBron has kind of been taken down a notch because age and the way the things went.
Lack of
with
supporting
the Lakers,
cast, etc.
So I thought, wouldn't it be cool if the NBA, like on the halftime shows way back in the 70s, they used to do these little features, the vignettes. One of them was Red on Round Ball, which was Red Auerbach basically teaching you the game. It was kind of a little bit corny, but it was fun. It was fun to watch, like to see Red out there doing stuff. But one of the things that they also tried was in 1972, they had a one-on-one tournament, okay? And so they took, at the time, there were 17 teams, 2 players from each team.
Oh, wow.
So I think it was 34 guys.
Yeah.
And, head to head, and they're just eliminated. It came down to JoJo White, who was a guard for the Celtics, against Big Bob Lanier. And Bob, it was really boring TV, actually, because Bob Lanier's like 6'11", and we just back everybody down. And so Bob Lanier won the thing. And he won $15,000 at the time.
Whoa,
which
big
was,
money.
It was huge.
Put all that on Gendry.
I'm all in on Gendry for the Thrones. But I thought, what if you did that today? Look, and I know, when a guy's making $35 million, today you're not going to, I don't even know how much you'd have to offer up to be, that would be you could be the king of the NBA throne if you could win this one-on-one tournament.
You could have any unrestricted free agent on your team after you win.
Or you could be an
You get to be a
you win
free
your freedom.
agent.
You win. We unlock your chains, and
you get to go
it's a
anywhere
get out
you
of
want.
jail free card. Anyway,
That'd be an incredible
think about
stipulation.
the logistics would be challenging, and there's guys I don't want to do it because I don't want to lose, and then
way too many.
It's going to hurt my brand and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I came up with let's just say we could do it. Let's just say everybody agreed. We got a big man's category and a guards category. So I've got for the forwards and up, I got 1 is Durant. I got 2 is Kawhi is my 2 seed. LeBron is 3. Yanis is 4. Anthony Davis is 5. Paul George is 6. Joel Embiid is 7. And just for fun, I'm putting Zion in, even though he hasn't been in the NBA. Apologies to Nikola Jokic because he should probably be in there.
So before you do the guards in the front court guys, let's look or back court guys. Let's look at how that plays out a little bit.
All right, KD beats Zion. That's the 1-8 matchup.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. The 2-7, Kawhi takes Embiid and beats him because Embiid's not going to chase him around.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 is interesting. LeBron against Paul George. So we're going to advance LeBron there.
Yeah, I'd give it to LeBron.
And how about the 4-5 matchup is Giannis against Anthony Davis?
See, that would be fun to watch.
That's epic. Wouldn't you watch that at halftime?
I'd watch that over the NBA All-Star game and anything that happens at NBA All-Star weekend currently.
Okay, so advancing with the bigs, it's well, would you have Giannis or Anthony Davis?
I'm going Giannis.
You're going Giannis.
I know Anthony Davis is a better shooter, but Giannis is
just
freak.
A force of nature. Otherwise, it would have been KD versus AD. All right, and then the big mans, which are also good alphabet stuff. So KD versus
round 2. Go.
KD versus Giannis, and
man,
I'm taking KD because he can shoot. Giannis
more all-around skill. More all-around skill.
And the other one is LeBron versus Kawhi.
Oh, we got storylines now. We got all the storylines. Imagine the vignettes leading up to the matchup.
Oh, my goodness. This would be epic. So LeBron versus Kawhi, right? Kawhi has been the LeBron stopper in the past.
Oh, man. Kawhi is...
I'm taking Kawhi Leonard right now.
Yeah.
He can shoot. He has better range on his shot. I mean, LeBron might just play bully ball.
Mm-hmm.
But, okay, so then let's say we agree on Kawhi Leonard. Then the big man final is KD versus Kawhi Leonard. The 2 people who are arguably the best 2 players in the game right now.
Yeah, jeez.
So we'll leave that right there.
So the final matchup is KD versus Kawhi Leonard
for the bigs.
For the bigs. All right, next category.
Okay, so let's go with the smaller guys. Okay, and this is seeded 1 through 8. I got Harden 1, Steph 2, Kyrie is 3, Dame Lillard is 4, Russell Westbrook is 5, Devin Booker of the Suns is 6, Kemba Walker is 7. And I threw in Luka Doncic just because we'll put him at guard, even though he's a bigger guy.
Yeah.
But that's really what he plays. So the 1-8 is Harden versus Luka. Harden advances.
Yeah, I'd give it to Harden.
The 2-7 is Steph versus Kemba, both with Charlotte connections.
Yeah,
that we saw at
there
the
you go.
All-Star
More package, more background. Everything.
All right, Steph. Okay, so Steph advances there. The 3-6 is Kyrie versus Devin Booker, which I could see an upset
fun to
there
watch, though.
because Devin Booker could flat out score on anybody. But let's just say Kyrie advances.
Give it to Kyrie.
And the 4-5 is Damian Lillard versus Russell Westbrook. There's gonna be blood on the floor in that match.
Yeah. And so you already have that rivalry. I mean, this to me is 100% better than the NCAA tournament. I would take this tournament over the NCAA tournament. I would take this tournament over anything from NBA All-Star Weekend already.
All right, so let's go to see who advances. James Harden against Damian Lillard is one matchup. I'm just gonna advance Harden, even though we appreciate Dame, and the handles contest in the other side of this bracket is Steph versus Kyrie.
That would just be unbelievable to watch.
I don't know that Steph can guard Kyrie. We already saw that at the end of Game 7 of 2016.
Oh, no, let's not talk about that anymore.
A compromised Steph.
Steph was very compromised in that series.
Okay, so who were you advancing? Are you advancing Steph or Kyrie?
I'll go Steph. Give me Steph.
Okay, you're taking Steph.
Best shooter in the world.
So then it's Harden versus... Well, we just saw Harden versus Steph. It's Harden versus Steph for the little guys. Even though if you stood next to James Harden, you'd go, oh, he's not little. I mean, he's...
But if you stand next to Steph, he's not little either.
Well, that's true. He's 6'3". I'm talking about
normal
just
human
thick.
beings.
So, all right. So, Harden versus Steph and...
Harden chokes. Steph wins.
Wow. So, you know what the... Okay, so then we have to come
back. He misses 27
straight threes? You're so cruel. And then there was an officiating report afterward that said he did not.
Giving it to Steph. Steph's a champion.
Does he flop?
Oh,
does Steph give him room to land?
Oh, God.
Okay.
I don't even want to go there.
So, all right. So you're advancing Steph.
So Steph is coming out of that bracket.
Let's come back to KD and Kawhi.
Yeah.
So if you advance Durant, you have Steph versus KD.
I'm picking Steph versus KD in the finals.
It's the inner turmoil of the Warriors right
Loser
here.
leaves town.
Yes, right.
Get out of town.
It's great. It's a WWE.
Yeah,
Vince McMahon would put this on.
This would be better than the XFL.
And so what would the prize? But the problem is if a guy's making $35 million to play and another 30 or 35 from Nike, if you're grossing $70 million a year, just all these guys, right? How much money could they possibly put on the table to incentivize you?
It would have to be an astronomical figure.
I mean, there's no way you could afford to put that tournament on.
I mean, what if it was like $20 million to the charity of your choosing, or I don't know. I don't know what you could. There's so many feelings in play. Like, remember the NBA All-Star Draft? They couldn't even air it the first year.
Well, because everybody was in their feelings.
Yeah, they were worried.
Well, the league was worried about guys being too sensitive, and then they got past that, and then they did.
And then LeBron just turned it into active collusion on every free agent coming.
Well, we'll see how that works out. We'll see how that works out.
He drafted every coming free agent.
Every free. By the way, in that 1972 Bob Lanier one-on-one champion, he beat Pistol Pete Maravich in the first round. How could he beat Pistol Pete Maravich? I would like to see the video on that.
They got to bring this back. It's genius.
I would love to see that. I just don't know how it could be orchestrated and liability. And imagine if somebody got hurt seriously.
Oh, yeah.
Just like, that's the end of the one-on-one tournament.
I mean, honestly, that's the sad thing is if somebody does, blow out an Achilles in this, or anybody gets seriously injured.
I mean, look at
you can't play this like you play the NBA All-Star game and just kind of,
No, I mean, there's too much at stake in this.
Yeah.
But it would be like, you ever watch the Big Three? When you
yeah.
know, and guys going down when they're older,
yeah,
and they're not in great shape. But guys, I mean, that league is an Achilles tendon waiting to explode.
If the NBA ever has a lockout, get some billionaires together and make this a thing.
Joe Lacob.
Make it happen. All right, so let's save Game of Thrones baby names to the end and open this envelope here.
That's from super producer Leonard, who is
with
absent
our
for
secret
week 3 in a row.
Of the day. He did tell me one thing about this, that we need a timer.
We need a timer?
So I'll get on my phone. And here, why don't you read it? I don't know what it says, but you read it while I get the timer ready.
It's a long question. I don't understand this.
This will be good then.
He said, this is not a question, it's a head-to-head. You have 15 seconds to name as many Game of Thrones characters as you can. The one with the most correct answers wins. But I thought he said it was going to be Star Wars related.
He said study Star Wars. And then he
you know how many hours I spent studying Star Wars for this right here? And then he goes...
I didn't do any. I studied no Star Wars.
But see, you're going to go ahead in 15 seconds, because I can't name that many.
You know what I find interesting is
paper.
It's really easy to be smart and come up with answers on things, but when you're against the clock, it's like impossible.
Well,
so
what's
15 seconds. All right, here, you take the timer.
All right.
The stopwatch is right here. We're firing it up. We're going to show it on YouTube. You're going to just tell me when it hits 15. Give me a buzzer sound effect.
Go ahead. All right, here we go.
Whoa. First of all, I see right in front of you, you have a list of
all
the baby
names. I just happen to have all the names. I didn't know that was the question. That is irrelevant. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Aegon Targaryen, Dany Targaryen, Jon Snow's 2 people. Oh, Arya Stark,
you already
Bran
blew it.
Stark, Sansa Stark, Varys,
I'll give you Ned Stark.
Tyrion. Did I say Tyrion twice? I'm the Hound, the Mountain, Maester Pycelle.
That's it. I think you got 9 or 10. I think you got 9 or 10.
I choked. I made all these James Harden comments.
You're naming
you have a list.
I have know. I need my. Well, I didn't
Put
know
the
that
list
this
away.
was going to be. Why would I do that? I didn't know. I just happened to have a list.
Flip it over.
What?
All right, ready? I'm going to go 15 seconds. Ready?
But do I have to have different names than you have?
Yeah, you have to name all different. No, I'm just kidding. You almost fell over. All right, I'm going to start the timer, and I'll hold it out so hopefully you can see it if you're watching on YouTube. And Larry's going to go, and I'm not going to count. We're going to have to just tell you who won when Leonard reviews the film. All right, ready? Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
How about Dany, Jon Snow, Samwell? Let's go Tyrion.
First and last name.
Oh, come on, Lannister. All the Lannisters. Cersei Lannister, Jaime Lannister. Let's go Oh, gee, I'm blacking out here. Oh, was that it? I think I got 8. No, anyway.
I think I won.
All right. Sansa. All right.
I did throw you a little curveball by saying last names too.
Yeah, no,
but I was going last names.
But what did that have to do with Star Wars? Leonard, what are you doing? Super producer Leonard.
You just totally messed with us. And we didn't even know what was in that envelope, but it's the perfect segue into our baby names conversation.
It's crazy.
Which is crazy. Leonard actually is a genius. That's what happened here. So check this out, right, before we go. This is ridiculous, but from the years 2000 to 2008, Jorah was a girl's name and a girl's name only. But then Sir Jorah Mormont happened, and since 2014, more than 80 boys have been born with the name Jorah.
So we should backtrack on this for a moment. This comes from the Social Security Administration, where everybody gets their kids' names registered. And so we're looking at names that are directly related to the Game of Thrones, and the leading name with over 2,500 selections is Arya.
Good
Arya is
choice.
the most popular name out of the Game of Thrones for babies that have been born during the Thrones.
We got to note this, though, first. They took Jon and Jamie out.
Well, because they were common.
Because
those
they're
are
common names. So you would probably get a lot of Johns. You'd probably get a lot of Jamies for Jon and Snow and Jamie Lannister. But they're not in here, so just so you know. So let's run down the list.
It gets dicey because if you saw the last episode, the Queen of Dragons, Khaleesi, kind of lost her mind and incinerated a whole town. And so she's a villain now. You described it as a wicked heel turn, I believe.
Wicked heel turn.
But I don't think it was a heel turn. She lost her mind.
Snapped.
She went crazy. If I was there and Miss Sandy was beheaded, I would be pretty.
And Miss Sandy told her to burn it down. She said, Dracarys.
I would. Very
560 people named their child Khaleesi.
Khaleesi, the villain, who's a villain now.
Probably regretting that now.
560. And so Daenerys was at 163. That's the same person.
So she was third. So Daenerys represents both the second and third spot on this list. Oh, boy.
Interesting.
That's not good.
And Jorah is in there. Jorah's ahead of Sansa.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, by at least one vote by my count. Here's the most interesting that I found. Ramsey Bolton. Ramsey's on the list.
There's little baby Ramsey.
Now, Ramsey is kind of it's a cool name. Unless you happen to be naming your child for Ramsey Bolton, who is perhaps the most despicable character in television history based on some of his shenanigans.
If you have a baby named Ramsey, I would not buy him a pet dog. Because the dogs ended up eating him.
I know. I know how that ended. And Theon is in there at 14.
That's pretty ridiculous. Look at this, though. Tyrion. 58 people have been named Tyrion. That's pretty cool.
Tyrion's a cool name.
So, to recap, excluding the Johns and Jamies, more than 4,500 children were given names from Game of Thrones in 2018. That's up from the 3,800 the previous year. That's a lot of Game of Thrones babies.
Have your next child, are you gonna? If it's a boy, are you gonna go Ramsey, like Ramsey Bolton?
I'll probably go with
Khaleesi,
the Mountain Pratt.
The Mountain. Oh,
yes,
wouldn't that be awesome?
Not even Gregor.
Not Hound. You're not gonna go Hound.
The Mountain will be his first name.
I hope he's 6'9", 375. Otherwise, he's got way too much to live up to.
Yeah, I think that would be a great name, the Mountain.
Mountain
what about
Pratt.
you? If you had to choose any Game of Thrones name.
Well, I'm done. The having kids years, I'm done with that.
Okay, so say you had to change your name right now. What would you make it?
I might go. Wasn't Cal Jason Momoa?
Khal Drogo.
Khal. I'd be Khal Drogo just because I like
That's a
Jason
cool name.
Momoa, and
Khal
because
is a cool
I'm
name.
I could see myself in that role.
Wow.
The newsroom better look out if that's what happens.
That's probably a good place to end the podcast.
That is a good place. Tell people where they can get the podcast. Well, they're listening to it, so they probably know where to get it.
But maybe they're listening and they want to watch it. Maybe they're listening and they haven't subscribed. So you can subscribe to the podcast right now on iTunes, Google Play,
do
SoundCloud. Please, you really help us if you do that. You can also watch all these episodes on YouTube because we have cameras all over the sports department right now.
We're on the TV.
And sometimes we'll sneak clips from the show on TV, actually.
Yes, we've done that.
Promo. And if you do subscribe to the podcast, it's really helpful if you actually click the 5-star button. Whether you ever listen or not, just go there, click it, and then you're good. We're in your debt forever.
I ask this every week, and I'm going to ask it again.
Yes.
We have a lot of stuff to give away. Where are we with legal?
We have rules.
You have rules?
We have rules.
Wait, you have them buried in a desk that can't be opened, in a drawer that's hermetically sealed.
I'm going to show some things.
Oh, okay, all right.
I'm going to show some things.
Show off your gear.
We are going to give these away
Once we figure out
when
the
you
contest.
subscribe to our lovely podcast. This is a number 35 Kevin Durant All-Star jersey. This is a number 30 Steph Curry All-Star
pretty nice.
jersey.
They're
These can
sweet.
be yours if you prove you subscribe to this podcast. So get started on subscribing, and we will show you really soon how you can get those. And abc7news.com/withauthority. You can find anything there, any information. You'll be able to sign up there too for the contest when it comes. And Larry, I think there's only one left thing to say.
Aloha.
Woo! We done.